If you're of a certain vintage, you'll know who Frank Sidebottom was.
Is this a new film?
It's a new film. So there was a film a few years ago that was just called Frank.
Yeah.
And that had Michael Fassbender in it.
Yeah.
So this is an actual documentary.
Oh, okay.
And so it was a crowdfunded thing, and it's basically so Chris Sivey was the man behind it, and he had a very interesting life, kind of, living around Manchester and some of his kind of exploits in the music business and that kind of stuff. Really interesting character and a story about his life. And there is this film, you can get it on all of your streaming services as well as in the cinemas. Obviously, it's a very limited release. But there's also an exhibition at the library in Manchester of all the kind of the paraphernalia that was around the Frank Sidebottom character, which Anna and I went to see a few weeks ago now, which was really interesting. So yeah, he's an intriguing character, and if you remember Frank Sidebottom from like the kind of late 80s, early 90s as a character on TV, you'll appreciate that.
Yeah, I vaguely recollect him from like sort of late night TV, Channel 4 type.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's really interesting how he ended up in that kind of situation. That certainly wasn't his first plan as he's trying to crack show business. So yeah, it's really interesting if you can catch it.
Excellent stuff. Well, that can count for both of us because I haven't. I've been sleeping quite a bit.
Sleeping. SLP recommends sleep.
Rugby League. So actually, do you know, I was listening to the Mentality podcast, the interview with Brian McDermott with that Stevie Ward did. I'm about halfway through it, and it is quite interesting. It certainly throws some things up. Whatever you think of Brian Mack as a character, it kind of gives you a bit of an insight into it that you've not really experienced before. That's interesting. So half. I recommend the first half. I don't know how the second half goes. Okay, so what's coming up for you next week? Well, obviously it's Tuesday night recording because we've got 2 rounds of games to go through. Don't expect much news chat. What I would say is if a major story breaks during the week, like a serious story, then we'll think about some sort of SLP short over the weekend if I can fit it in. It is my cousin Kelsey who comes to the Wigan games with us, so a few people might have met Kelsey along the way down the years. It's her 18th birthday on Saturday, so that's very exciting. So happy birthday to her. And yeah, we'll be at games over the weekend. I'll be at Wigan game on Friday. After the game, I'll probably be popping along to Wigan Central for a few beers for a few hours. So if anyone's out and about, Wigan or Saints fans for that one, come and say hello. That'd be ace. I always like seeing people. And that's about it for what we've got coming up. Other than obviously the Power Mary interview that we're hoping to have as well, up by the weekend too. So do check that out. That's really exciting, and it's nice that Anna can see us as a conduit towards her podcasting dreams, because we know that she's going to far outstrip us for listeners and followers and all of that very, very soon.
Oh, I'm sure. The idea today was developing a screenplay, so she's already been having a conversation with Dom about that. So
with Dom,
yeah. Oh, Twitter. Just,
I tell you what, we could do a screenplay on Dom's life. Dom's an interesting man to follow around. Dom was telling me last week when he was here about his Disney holiday planning service that he is able to support people with. So if you are planning a holiday to any of the Disney venues around the world, Dom is definitely the man to speak to. It's unbelievable the stuff he knows about Disney. Like, he was sat there saying, how do you remember all this stuff about rugby league players and stuff like that? I was like, I don't even scratch the surface compared to what you know about Disney. It's ludicrous. Like, I feel like I know more unnecessary stuff that I need to know about Disney already, just from like the snatches of time I have with Dom. So
just by osmosis, yeah.
So maybe I should recommend Dom as your travel advisor if you're going to any of the Disneys. There you go. Okay, find the show at Super League Pod on Twitter and Instagram if you're not around us already, and Super League Pod, facebook.com/Super League Pod to get around us on all our social media platforms there. superleaguepod@gmail.com if you want to email us anything. Superleaguepod.com is where you'll find our blog posts, but to be honest, they're just the episode ones at the moment, but do go and click on those and get us some hits and clicks and stuff like that, and you can find details of our sponsors there. You can search for the show to listen to it if you're listening to it in a way that you don't like at the moment and you want to find a more suitable or easier way for you. You can try Spreaker, iTunes, Leaguecast Android app, Podcast Addict, Stitcher, rugbyleaguemedia.com or YouTube. Well, it's audio only, obviously. We want to give a shout out to our partner sponsors, Rob's Toy Shop. If you enter SLP discount at checkout on Rob's Toy Shop on eBay, you'll get 5% cash back on any orders over £5, plus give 1% cash back to SLP. Little Warden, if you go to littlewarden.com, you can see what they can do for you if you've got a website. Obviously, they're the title sponsor of this show, and we do love our friends at LW. Matco Browns for all your international rugby league gear. Use our link shown on the episode blog post, and we get 8% of your order value to help with our running costs. So yeah, other ways to support the show if you want to. You can make a donation, paypal.me/superleaguepod. All donations, large or small, are definitely appreciated. If you donate £20 or more, we can get you either a t-shirt, hopefully, if we've got one in your size left, or a beanie hat, which it sounds like we won't need at all over Easter, which is fantastic, weather-wise.
No.
And
No,
obviously we talked last week about
Go on.
people getting their sort of nominations in for us to support any community club projects. We haven't had anything through yet, so we've got some money sat aside in the kitty to donate to some community club projects if you get in touch with details of them, and we think they are what we want to support, which is Rugby League. I cut you off. You were going to say something?
I was just going to say that the beanie hat came in very handy over the weekend. It was bitterly cold up at Odsall, but I think this weekend it might go back into hibernation. But you never know; it might come out again before the season's out.
The clocks changed and the winter came back, so so there you go. Anyway, that's our show. A long one. We didn't mean to do these sorts of shows this year. Don't know what we've done to ourselves. Anyway,
Mark round. What more can we say?
Probably was that, wasn't it? An unexpectedly long conversation drawn out from pretty much a whole day's worth of goading on Twitter, to be honest. So there you go. Plus loads of news. But anyway, that's it. That's our show for this week. Me and Al, both back next week to go through all of the Easter results.
Yeah. Bye.